Sure you want to start that?
No, do you want me to?
So, yeah, just preliminary stuff. We've got to be out of here by 4,
Okay.
or at least I have to be out of here by 4.
That's
You guys,
perfect.
we can
Okay.
do that.
We
and
just
then
have to
pass the
verbally say
cake
who's
and stuff
here.
as we go.
So it's 3:10 p.m. Annie's present. Mariko, Margaret Chappie, Rania Mosen, James Lindsay, Larry Klein, and Andy Jordan.
All right, very good. How about a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Old business, RENA subregion formation update.
Oh goodness, where do we start?
I
Don't
know,
start from the
a lot.
beginning.
Okay,
Right.
not
These are
from
like
the
dog
beginning.
years that we-
So where we are, Los Altos Hills and Cupertino have voted to support formation of a planning collaborative. We did not receive responses from ABAG, which were promised to us by yesterday, and then promised by today. For the 4 questions, we have not received them.
Well, it's almost to the point now where we should just go ahead and just move forward.
Yeah.
I
I have.
so many unknowns.
Yeah, so on next Wednesday afternoon, Ronnie and I are going to participate on a call with all the sub-region contacts with HCD. And the best news is that Baird and Driscoll, who are with San Mateo County 21 Elements, their consultant, have written out a long list of questions that basically detail everybody's concerns, and then they mirror everybody's concerns, but they sent them in first, and all the other counties are yep, ditto. So that will happen on Wednesday. So we will have some of the context of those answers for the meeting on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Also, do you want to mention the call that you hosted that?
Oh, yes, and on Monday, I hosted a meeting.
Yeah, actually, Andy did a great job.
It was on Zoom, and I had a PowerPoint presentation for everyone, and there were a lot of people on the call.
40 people on the call.
Oh,
Wow.
I thought, yeah.
yeah. And it was a lot of me talking and trying just to tell everybody where we were and to this point. And I think James was on. You were on the call too, weren't you? No, Debbie was. I didn't have a lot of questions. Sunnyvale made it very clear that they were not in favor of a subregion under no circumstances, pretty much.
Under the new concept or what?
Well, they expressed support for the planning collaborative,
Right.
that's what I heard.
Yeah,
A lot of people did, actually.
yeah, and they felt that was better. And I also think that then on Wednesday I was invited back to SCAPO, the planning directors, and we had a discussion there. There was a lot of support for a planning collaborative, and a number of the planning professionals in the room have worked in San Mateo County before and have worked with Baird and Driscoll, and they were very favorable of that kind of collaborative effort. And a lot of the items on their agenda also would have been things that they were needing support from each other, and it would be support that in the future they would get from a planning collaborative.
So is it going to be our recommendation on Thursday that we are going to, request a vote or something for us to either move forward with the planning collaborative or not? Is that what it's going to be?
I think that would be my recommendation, is that you ask for an action of some sort, and whether you want to move forward in a planning collaborative. And then with a planning collaborative, I think that we may want to do a little more work on that. However, that being said, we want to identify that we would revise the MOU, that we would revise the resolution, but we also need to get moving kind of quickly on this, because one of the things a planning collaborative could do is our consultant could be advising us as we follow the methodology committee of ABAG. And they would be able not only to support, I think there are 4 members of SCAPO who are 2 are members and 2 are alternates. And so like RT is one of them, and then I think there's somebody from San Jose or the county, as a member of the technical
Mhm.
methodology committee, and then we have,
Party.
yeah, RT, yeah, and then we have, the elected is Nisa Flagor from Los Altos, and then I think Cindy Chavez. So if we do the planning collaborative, they'll also be able, so the sooner we get that going, the consultant could be helping them and advising them as well.
Oh, okay.
So we don't wanna drag behind in too long.
Right, okay,
So that'd be my recommendation too. I mean,
okay.
let's face it, we have three options: do nothing,
Mhm.
have a collaborative, or try to move forward with the sub-region, which we don't even have anything to present.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, we're in the same boat as we were last
Last month.
Yeah,
Right.
So I
Okay.
just don't
And you
see
already
that.
got 2 cities that have already said that they are signing on for a collaborative.
Mhm.
Do we need the county there to kind of update them on this is our direction? Because it's this quasi, okay, it's 15 cities plus the
So
county.
Steve Preminger is as always, he was on he was at our board meeting
Okay.
via Zoom the last meeting.
Okay,
And in all of our discussions that we're having, the county has been involved, and that's Rob Eastwood for the staff member usually. And we're also communicating, Margaret is communicating with Supervisor Chavez. And then, you've got a pretty direct line though, right?
Oh, to Cindy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked quite a bit.
But anyway, we've been
good.
keeping them,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
yeah.
Okay. And whether or not they wanted to be there, Thursday night especially, because we're
Oh,
kind of making a
yeah,
final
we'll make
decision
sure.
as a group. Just
Okay,
as a special invite, or pointing it out to them, because yes, it's our
I-
15 cities, but
I
they're
think
kind of
that
this
Steve will
quasi-
probably attend via Zoom again,
Okay.
because I think he's actually kind of on medical leave, but
Ah.
he's attending our meetings.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so that sounds good.
So
I
what
assume
what
that the-
specifically would you like the motion to say, and Rania?
I know, I was gonna, ask to clarify, as far as like reviewing the MOU and finalizing those details, do you want that to go to the task force to kind of, to review that as a group and bring back to the board, or is that something that you wanna?
That would actually should be part of the motion.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
to reconvene the task force
Mhm.
to review the documentation.
Mhm.
Because it would still have to come back to
Mhm.
the board, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
And is there a certain action we need councils to take? If it's a planning collaborative, that's not any different, then I know Los Gatos, we don't need to do anything. Because remember, we had already agreed, made the motion to be a part of this effort.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering, like, how can we craft this in a way so that those cities that have already given guidance can just continue working without having to go back to their board, to their councils? Or do we need to sign something?
Well, the MOU eventually, each
Okay.
city would have to agree on that, or sign it, right?
Mhm.
And that would be more like next year, right? Or are we hoping to get an MOU?
No, we would
before
have
the
to,
year?
well, I would advise that we don't take too long because of the methodology committee.
Okay,
And I would think that would be in our best interest.
so let's work backwards. When do you think an MOU should be signed?
How much information do the cities need on a planning collaborative? That's what I didn't print out. I have a sheet about the, oh,
Can you make copies of it?
yeah, that would be, can we make copies of this, James?
Absolutely.
That is what, this sheet has what a planning collaborative, what we could do with our $50,000. And it's, I worked on it with, the consultant that is willing to do this for $50,000.
Well,
But-
if you look at the timeline, if we're going to convene the task force, that's probably going to be 3 or 4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we need to get it over to our city attorney to revise the MOU.
Mhm.
Probably could take a couple weeks.
So are we
So we're
looking at
talking
first,
about
the
6 or
first
7
meeting
weeks.
in December?
I don't
Is
think,
that too
I don't
quick?
think we have a
We don't
meeting in
have a
December.
meeting.
Do we?
No,
No, like we would have to do a November meeting and ask we would have to have that go back to I guess what's the process? So there'd be a motion Thursday
And
to
then-
do this.
To
Yeah.
proceed with the planning
It
collaborative.
probably wouldn't come
the
back until
revision of the
January.
Yeah,
MOU.
I think we'll be
Right.
getting the years.
We're talking January.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that,
easily.
does that fit the timeline though?
Well, there's
Hopefully
nothing.
not.
I guess we have no
Planning
choice,
collaborative
right?
doesn't- What does it
Do we
mean?
Well, I
have
mean,
it?
yeah, does there,
We're not creating
Well,
a sub-region.
Yeah.
We're not creating a sub-region, we just need to, it's hiring the consultant. I mean, because they're really going to guide the process.
Mhm.
But, I mean, we can start doing,
Yeah,
but our
I think
timeline
it's,
drives them, they
Yeah.
don't drive our time,
Yeah.
right,
Mhm.
exactly.
since we write the checks.
it's gonna be January. Even the latter part of January, it's with the holidays and everything, I just don't think that we're gonna get too much done in during that time period.
Do you,
So Chappie, would you agree that this is January timeframe,
Yes.
that we would have that complete? Okay.
Thank you.
and this is just the list that we created that identifies what a planning
Two
collaborative
cities
could do.
listed on there are my notes saying that they approved the collaboration.
Oh, right,
So-
yeah. Okay. All right, so that's what we're doing,
Okay.
okay?
That sounds good.
All right,
Hey, we got Cooper.
Okay, and just to confirm, the, motion to send it back to the task force.
Mhm.
Okay,
With an expectation that the revision to the MOU will be complete sometime in the January timeframe,
okay.
if possible.
Wow.
Do you have a soft copy for this?
Mhm.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, how about the general meeting dinner scheduled for December 6th?
Oh, okay.
Is this simply a schedule consideration, or is there more?
Well, there is a
Oh, a budget?
budget. What I'd like to do, this is what it's looking like right now. Here, I'm just gonna let you guys,
Do we have enough for everyone?
yes. No, there's plenty, I just need one too, though.
Okay, let me give you one.
Sorry, one-handed isn't working. Lisa has been working with me on the budget, and so we're just trying to get some final numbers on the food. But this is where we are, at the moment. So, if you are okay with the general direction that this is going in, I would solidify the numbers in the next couple of days and,
Can I ask you a question? What's the two columns, the estimate versus actual? I mean,
oh,
we don't have actuals.
I'm sorry, that
We
it
don't
is,
have
it's supposed
actuals
to be
on this.
estimate for, I'm sorry,
That's
that's,
right. Is
so
that-
they're, those both are supposed to be estimates. One was a $60 price tag and
Ah,
an
got it.
$85 price tag.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry, I used
No,
an
no, that's all
old,
right. Yeah, no, that's fine.
last year's.
Yeah. I got
But I
it.
don't think we would charge $60, that's not enough, but the
Mm-hmm.
question would be, do you wanna charge $75 or $85?
Mm-hmm.
We budgeted that it's not a, like, complete break even. We budgeted in our yearly budget that the event would cost, $14,000. And, that we would take in $5,200 because we're not taking any donations.
Mhm.
And
And
that
now
is,
we can, we're
Huh?
nonprofit.
no,
Status.
not, well, I have an
What's our
update
new
on,
status?
not
Yeah,
yet,
Chinese
not
status.
yet.
No. Next year.
But just depending on, well, right here, we would take in more than 5,200, but that's what was budgeted in our budget. So, currently 77, it's about a 5,000 difference with an $85 ticket.
Wait, I don't get it. So that's total expenses, right? The last, number, the 12,000
The 12
is
is, yeah.
is total expenses,
And then the
Okay.
income is up on top.
and the income
Is
Is
6,000.
7,300.
Well, but then I have
for
another,
the higher
Oh, I
price
see.
point.
but then I have $1,000 in a higher price ticket. If we did 100, because we've been charging more for non-members. So, and that's usually like 10 people. So it's 73.75 would be the total income.
Right.
And then,
Total expenses
Currently,
are
right now.
12,000.
yeah,
So we've got 5.
But that is still within
1,000
line with what
delta.
is originally budgeted.
Okay, all right.
But the numbers are pretty soft at the moment because we don't have the food and beverage yet.
Right, okay. So
And that's what we're trying to highlight right
first
now.
off, December 6th, that's the date that we settled on based on the availability at the venue site, as well as what we thought was the date that doesn't create as many conflicts as we've had in the past.
Right.
And so are we good with at least that part? That the December 6th is a date that we can all like say, yeah,
We
that's
can't
probably the
change it.
best of
It
the
has
options?
to be.
We
Okay,
could
good.
save the date that thought I saw something.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, I've set it out. Yeah, but we don't have it. There's not another.
There's not another.
There's
I
no
know,
other.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to ask it from the standpoint, if anybody knew of a major, event that's going on, or at least something
Yeah.
that's gonna interfere with this,
Several
night,
of our
Yeah,
cities
so
have tree
Los Gatos
lighting.
has a tree
Oh,
lighting.
nice.
so-
Okay, right, so we're
Ours is
gonna
on
have some of
It
that.
is. Oh.
And
That
so
following
is
Friday or that
Cupertino.
Friday?
So is
No, this Friday.
Santa Clara.
This December
Okay.
6th.
Oh.
So
Okay,
I'm hoping you guys stay late. So maybe
Cupertino's is
after,
actually
just come
Cupertino's
over.
is as well, but they're coming later.
okay.
I was
Okay.
notified of that.
All right.
So
Okay, so from that standpoint, we picked what we feel is the most optimized date. And so now it's just a matter of the budget, and are we, and we're not even at a point where we can approve this budget because it's still too fluid, right?
Yeah.
And there's still stuff that's missing from it.
also the last year you did chocolates at you've done little goodie bags before. Last year you decided you wanted to move away from that.
I'm a
Yeah.
big no goodie bag
Yeah.
person.
Do you guys want anything? Because you want chocolates? Did you want
Well, edible
Um,
goodie bags are okay, but
any?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Some
not,
sort of a
after
gift
eating
type
this
of
cake,
thing.
I'm not in the mood for it.
Yeah, I know, me
It's
too.
like, your time, you know,
Good.
like questions
Cannolis.
too.
Why don't we take that offline and see if
Okay.
we can come up with something,
Okay, that's fine.
okay?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Consideration of City's Champion Award.
Oh,
You guys have for the last. So I don't. Maybe they started doing this after you were.
I think so.
They turned a president's award in. Ronnie might be able to tell us. But they have a city's champion award, and
who got it last year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who got it last year?
It wasn't.
Senator Hill got it in
Bell? Was it
2017.
Yeager.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeager.
Ken.
Oh, Yeager.
Yes,
Right,
that's
right,
exactly
there we
what it
go.
was.
Yeah.
Good
County
job.
level,
Um,
that's right.
Good job.
We
Oh,
didn't.
so Jerry should get
Mhm.
this.
Well, it's
Oh,
kind of a funny thing to give a champion award to legislators who have not voted in any. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
that's just a small point.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
none of anything that was a priority for us. None of them. They,
Yeah, I know.
County event.
Is there
Congressperson?
anyone retiring?
Oh, yeah, or Dave Cortese.
Do Cortese.
Because he's retiring, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well,
He's representing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
He's
where we're
transitioning.
going.
He's
Transitioning, that's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Yeah, Cortese
He was a former president of the City Association.
mm,
Yeah, it's probably worthwhile. Though has he ever shown up? Have we ever
Well, he
invited
did.
him?
Remember that big
Yeah.
NTC meeting?
Yeah, the very
Yeah.
first
Kinda got
meeting.
skewered.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Hand in hand. Yeah.
that might not.
um,
I thought it was a profile in courage, to be honest.
I mean, no kidding, right? Well, we can. You don't have to decide right now, but
We can decide next
Um,
month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone. put
we
on their
do need. I
feet.
need an idea if you're
Mhm.
gonna throw some names in so that I can call their
Yeager was
staff
easier 'cause he was
and.
actually
Yeah.
retiring.
Right, fully
Yeah.
retiring.
yeah.
David's transitioning. Most likely.
Mhm.
What about a Congress?
Jim Bell is gonna be
Yeah.
transitioning.
Yeah.
Anna Eshu just
He gets
got
his
us out of a
wishes.
problem.
Actually,
Mhm.
Yeah, and she's
Actually-
been doing the FAA stuff, right?
Right.
Airport
Yeah.
She's
Controls.
doing a lot of work on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, she's kind of took the lead on that. So she would love it.
Who was that
Actually,
who we're talking
Anna
about?
Eshu?
Yeah, why don't we do
Yeah.
Anna?
actually, yeah. I
Anna's a
like
good
that
choice.
idea.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
Hey.
Beautiful.
Hey.
Simple.
Chappie, what do you think about that though? Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, fine, fine with it.
Yeah, I like that option. I think that works beautifully.
So do you
On
want to?
so many different levels.
So do you want to recommend that to the board?
Did
How
we
would you?
actually-
How do you handle that?
Was it the executive board last year?
I think it was, yeah.
I thought it was just the executive board.
Right,
Yeah.
we decided it, and I think that was it.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
pretty sure-
remember it
I'm
going,
pretty sure that was that.
because
Mhm.
I could
Right.
imagine you'd get a big
Oh,
conversation.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I think we just left it to the board and said,
Yeah.
Yeah, if
Maybe
somebody
a few.
raises the issue,
Mhm.
then we can discuss it, but it's,
Okay, so it can be presented that.
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Are they on break yet? December 6th?
Oh, yeah, they'll be done.
Okay.
This
I'll
is
send
October.
Karen a message.
Yeah.
Her.
Oh,
Um,
excited.
okay, and then on the other side of the budget is the next point is calendar for next year.
Mhm.
And I was just trying to get the calendar for next year ready so that everybody would be aware and we could start to consider conflicts if they're known. And I'm sorry, this was a one-handed typing job.
Yeah.
May 14th is the general meeting, and we are going to do that on a Thursday this year.
Okay.
No meeting in July. October, there is a conflict with the League of California Cities. So, I don't know if you don't want to have a meeting that month, or you want to,
Make it a different week.
in 2017, the same thing happened, but I think it was a September meeting. It happened, I think it happened in 2017, and I think it happened last year too, where it was a conflict with the league. And so we moved the meeting, like one of the meetings to the end of September.
What do you think, Larry?
I think we should try to keep it in October because November is going to be a week before election day. And it's going to be really bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So-
That's good.
Yeah. And then last year we had a whole bunch of people like call in, remember?
Yes,
Oh, you
yes.
guys
Kind
were
of
from
funny.
DC. You guys were in.
Actually,
Yeah, it was both of you.
Oh, yeah.
I was one of
Was it both of you guys?
It was,
And
And Pat?
and
Yeah.
that was, yeah,
And
LA.
Lisa Matichuk?
That's
Oh,
all.
yes.
it was a funny
Oh,
call.
you guys were having fun.
I know.
It worked out though.
It worked out.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I don't know that I looked online and I couldn't find it was I was looking for the that conference that you guys were at. I was trying to see if there was another
That was
conflict.
the NLC
There's
City
this-
Summit.
Yeah, and I couldn't find.
This year it was the 10th through the 13th, so it could be that
It
week.
overlapped.
You talking about the NLC?
Yeah.
The DC trip.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure that I had those out, but
Well, for San Antonio, it's the 20th through the 23rd.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, we're
What-
assuming
which
you'll
month?
have it next year.
November.
November.
Will you be at
oh, so that's
either
okay.
of those?
But the March one is always that second week.
Or as mayor, it's already
Oh,
that
so
drop
that
off
March
for certain
12th?
things.
Okay.
Might
Um,
conflict.
But hopefully NLC City Summit, I don't know, I'm skipping this year because we have our ice rink opening on that Friday. And,
There's always something.
yeah, there's always something
Yeah.
as mayor.
Yeah.
So I've cut back on my travel and my vacation quite a bit. So, yeah, from my standpoint, NLC. Well, NLC is always after the election.
Yeah.
Well, Margaret
So
just said
that's
it's
not-
the 20th through the 23rd.
Yes,
So that's the
weird.
cities one, and then the DC one in is March. It's always the second week of March.
Yeah.
So this year it was 10 through 13. So if it's the same, then the 12th.
Then it will
will be-
conflict there.
Yeah.
Okay, then the other thing I wanted to point out on the calendar was that the date for the December general membership dinner. And Larry would like to try December 3rd, which is the first
Friday.
Thursday, I thought.
Our third.
Because we were
Oh,
not going
that's
to do
right.
Friday
That's
because
right.
our city
Okay.
summit, we have tree lighting. Now what?
No, that's right.
So my only hesitation with the first Thursday is that it's the week after Thanksgiving
Yeah.
for planning purposes.
But the following week is Hanukkah, so
Mhm.
we always have that conflict.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's either Thursday or Friday, and the week after Thanksgiving, I'd rather do, conceivably, Friday's now matching up with their tree lightings.
Yeah.
As an annual sort of thing that we need to think about.
Yeah.
We might as well move it to Thursday, and yes, I know it's
Thursday
on Thursday.
might be easier.
We might not
Thursday
get as
the
many people, we
3rd,
might get
yeah.
more people.
Well, the year we
Yeah.
switched it to a Friday, did we get more people? That was our
No,
assumption.
it's last year we had a nice crowd last year and it was a Friday.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Year before.
Year before, well, in 2017, it was the second. It was the second.
That was the
Thursday.
controversy.
Oh, right, that was the problem with the date.
Our friends.
So let me
Actually,
throw,
that was the best turnout that we had.
Right.
Oh, really?
Well,
But
that's
We
also-
had like 110 people, of
Yeah.
which only 75 RSVP'd.
but can you stagger the times?
The speakers, too.
Huh?
We had good speakers that year. It was Hill, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Hill and everybody.
I don't know.
Can you
yeah.
stagger them so that you could do
Well,
both?
they were
or is it too
staggered that
much?
year anyway. They were. That event is always earlier. Everybody just went from one event to the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it used to be.
Uh huh.
But don't they do it on the second?
They
So
do
the
it on
only
the
thing is,
Thursday.
BTA meets that on that first Thursday.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's when I also get calls from VTA saying, when is your event going to be? And, so, do you all want to think about it?
I know. Let's think about it. We could do it the first Friday, and that messes up what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but that's Santa Clara too, and it's Cupertino now too. It's three cities.
They're all doing Friday.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting. We always do Saturday because we get more people.
Oh, Saturday's our parade.
Oh, wow.
Now I understand.
So,
Yeah, you're not gonna find a.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah.
And the 10th is Hanukkah.
Although, remember we had a
Is it?
good conversation
know.
about Hanukkah,
Is it?
about
11th is Hanukkah.
The 11th is Hanukkah.
Oh, so the
Yeah,
10th
a week
is
later.
okay. Well, I
But
did
the 10th is SVLG.
SBLGs.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is
What
the
time
whole
is
thing.
theirs?
Yeah.
Can
That
we
was a
get
big
them to do
issue.
4 to 6?
Yes.
And then we do
Exactly.
We
That was the big
thought.
issue 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was
Let's just ask
it
them to do
wasn't
4 to
really
6.
it was only an issue for one person.
Well,
to
there's
be-
people that,
No, but everybody went from one event to the other.
Yeah.
We've had our best attendance.
and actually,
Yeah.
if they
It's-
have it again,
Because we have to go
if they
over.
always have it at Levi's,
Mhm.
going from Levi's to Sunnyvale will not be
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
that
true.
is.
And then which one goes first? Like, you can
They go
actually
first.
make the cost go down if they do a full dinner and then ours
Ah.
is
There we
coffee
go.
and dessert.
There you go.
But
Well, they always have that.
I think it's worse for us to
board
have an
meeting,
event
right?
on night when our cities are having an event. I mean, our only members are our cities.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, who
Not-
goes to their event?
It's all their company people.
It's company
both,
people and a
huh?
certain amount of
I mean, they invite the
council
electeds,
members.
yeah. But what if
Hmm.
I ask them to do 4:30 to 6:30 or 4 to 6? And
4
then
to
we do
6 would be
ours
wonderful,
from
and then we do
7 to
6:30 or 7 to 9.
Then,
We
you
actually
know,
probably get more people for both.
Yeah,
And you
just
could ask
if you're
them to
out,
bus
you're
us
gonna
all
wanna-
over.
Actually,
Yeah.
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 Well,
Bus
because
it.
Mark,
Something on
so,
that
and
side
from
of
a venue
Sunnyvale?
standpoint, May will be most likely the golf course, something outdoor and
Oh.
kind of an indoor-outdoor sort of thing. But the December event will most likely be one of the downtown restaurants that's opening up at the beginning of the year.
Oh, nice.
Since everybody coming to downtown.
No, I'm serious
Probably
about
have-
having them pay
We'll
for the
probably have the
busing.
ice rink, we'll probably have the ice
Uber.
rink and everything
Uber
else.
shuttle. Or
Oh, that'd be
Uber or
wonderful.
whatever. That's all.
Waymo, maybe Waymo will be
Oh,
doing my
that would be great. Yeah,
That
we
would be
can
good.
ask them.
So, we'll see.
I guess who would make that call though?
Right. Well, I think we need to talk, we just need to
well,
talk.
I
to
have
Carl.
I have a message into Jason Baker and I were going back and forth,
Oh.
and when I sent the message about the dates, that's when I didn't get a response. So I'll call him.
I'm supposed to meet with Carl sometime in the next 2
Oh,
weeks, so I met with him, I went to an event
Tweet
earlier
it.
this
Yeah.
week. So we'll see.
You get an answer then.
Yeah, I would.
I think they would appreciate the fact that we're even talking about it and
Yeah.
trying to,
And let's try to
Trying to coordinate.
Coordinate.
both.
yeah. And
And conceivably, we can push, but everybody pushes the other's agenda,
Yeah.
and we like, okay, come
Okay.
to this party first, and
Right.
then go to the second party.
Yeah.
If we make it that easy,
It's a progressive evening.
yes.
I'm serious. We
Yeah.
could decrease
Cocktails.
costs. You don't need to pay as much.
Perfect.
We'll do cocktails there and
Yeah.
do it here. Oh,
That's right.
oh.
Perfect.
We don't want people to.
I know, that's why the
Oh, it's
shuttle.
gonna be
I'm
fun.
totally serious about the shuttle.
Right. We can do a
Party
continuous
shuttle.
shuttle between the two.
Serve drinks on the shuttle.
Just be aware that Carl will see this as a threat against his event, even though you
Even
tell
though
him
it's the
that they're
same.
going to be offset in times and so forth, right? It's going to be perceived as, you guys know when my event is, and you scheduled
But-
an event at the same
and-
night as mine.
and
I'm not
yeah.
saying you should
Yeah,
change
yeah.
your planning. I'm just saying that you'd be aware that that's going to be
Yeah.
the sentiment.
I already got my out. I'm just saying, talk to Manny.
And
Great.
that's one of the reasons why we're initially
Both
going
Of course, I sent them all to you.
VTA has an
Yeah.
issue.
But is VTA willing to switch theirs?
Well, they
It's
used
their
to-
meeting.
That's their monthly meeting,
Oh.
the
They've
first Thursday.
done workshops in the morning.
Yeah,
What's their December evening meeting? It'd be
Right.
something to look at for this December, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
conceivably they
Yeah.
don't.
we can
Yeah.
ask them to do it, like, they do Friday morning workshops sometimes. We can
And
do that
last
for
year, when we did ask about how big was a Hanukkah conflict, Greg's like, well, my wife will deal with it. So
Mhm.
even though we were trying to,
Yeah.
Oh,
To
next
accommodate.
year is
Right,
also our
right.
30th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
oh,
Well,
What?
then-
Next year's or the
Oh, we
30th?
need to
I believe
push the
so.
budget then.
Yeah, that's.
Well, we have $1,000
important.
for entertainment.
I've got
Mhm.
somebody. I've already got somebody that might do it. Although I haven't talked about price. So we'll see.
That's a lot.
All right. Well, we got 20 more minutes.
okay.
We got a lot of agendas.
So we're still thinking about
We're
it.
still
Is that
thinking
it?
about that one.
thinking about
It's
that.
just a
So,
placeholder.
Yeah.
did we have to have
Competition.
Did we want to give a calendar? No, we don't need a calendar yet. This is for us.
No,
For now.
it's for us. I just, wanted to, I don't know when you usually
I think we
approve that.
approved that. I think really in
January?
we don't do it in December.
I think that we did it and then we gave it to everyone and,
Yeah, because the problem is you have the
There's conflicts.
switchover. You have the switchover in January for a lot of people. So the concept of here's what it is. You might as well have the
Yeah.
executive board do it.
Yeah,
and
that's
be
true.
done with it. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So that takes care of everything within new business, right? All right. So now
the meeting.
the meeting, right? We've got the arena sub-region update. We already talked about that. Committee reports.
So that we have just a question here. So we do have some folks that would very much like us to have a legislative meeting, but Margaret and I are wondering if really we should just have it in November instead, because the last day of the session is Friday. There's a lot of bills still sitting on the governor's desk.
Yep.
And if we waited until November, it would allow staff to have a meeting. It would allow us to have a real update. I've been working with Seth, the league, so anyway, I think it would be better if we went to November. And then we also maybe, Margaret and I can talk, because there have been some items that have come up that we may want to talk to legislators about, different pieces of legislation that are not housing related, that public records requests. Some different items to see if there's anything else that we can talk to our legislators about.
Right. All right.
So, does that sound okay to everyone? And
Good for me.
That works
All right.
for me.
Yeah.
Good. Wow, we save ourselves an hour.
Yeah.
there will be
Time
no
away
pizza.
from the family, huh?
There'll be no pizza then.
That's fine.
Do you want
Oh.
pizza? Do you still want me pizza?
I don't know. Let me think
Okay,
about it.
All right. You want pizza? I'll get pizza.
I love that pizza. But anyway, we'll discuss it. All right, but we are going to bring up the nominating committee, and we're going to bring up the individual that we had selected, and has it been confirmed?
I have not been able to talk to her.
Okay.
But should
all
we
right.
just, her email was very positive. Oh, I just didn't get
No,
a,
until you talk to her, let's not
okay,
talk about it here. Let's talk about
okay.
it.
All right. So we'll leave it at that. But we'll have a report for that, and again, as we mentioned, we'll be opening it up to nominations from the floor as well. And we'll see what happens from that standpoint. Okay? All right, request to present. We've got, the leadership group.
So this is the FASTER, this is their regional transportation measure that they're working on, and so Jason Baker would like to come and present about that. And also, VTA would like to come and give a 10-minute presentation about their, they're doing a governance study.
I'm on the ad hoc committee.
Okay, so they would like to come and present to us for 10 minutes. Just
This is as a result of the grand jury report, right?
It was
Wow.
kicked off prior to the grand jury report.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were initiating that anyway, but
Right.
the grand jury report did suggest or make a recommendation that we do it,
Okay.
so it really aligned itself.
Okay. So what would this presentation be focused on? Is it basically the process that they're going to follow and some of the things that they're considering?
Actually, I have no idea.
well, hold on here. There is a.
Isn't there a piece that they want us
Some-
to?
Taking it-
Unless they
Yeah,
just
like
wanna
we
give
were
you an
gonna give
update
them-
I think they just want to tell us the process.
on where we are.
A short PowerPoint presentation will be provided on the objective scope and major factors being evaluated, opportunities for input, deliverables, and projected schedule.
Okay, so they're gonna show,
Okay.
we have a consultant, so they're gonna show you the consultant's initial scoping
Okay.
and
All
then
right.
get your input.
All
think that's
All right.
worthwhile.
That's I
Yeah.
think that's worthwhile as well.
But this is the recommended process that VTA board agreed to?
No, that our ad hoc committee.
That you're ad hoc, okay.
So it hasn't gone to the board yet.
Okay, so just, I'm totally confused now. What's the status of the idea that Cities Association is gonna do governance?
Big study.
Well, I don't know who would decide that anyway. I mean, oh,
At least we have to recommend it to
Yeah.
the whole board, but, you know.
Well, again, it's my opinion that the cities association should have no part in this piece,
Okay.
right? I mean, is that how we all feel, or is this just my feeling on this one?
So who initiated, was it VTA initiated?
VTA
Yeah.
initiated this presentation.
Was it in response to, because I think a letter went out, well, also, wasn't there a
I think
letter
that
went out
I think that
from
Jeannie.
or-
Well, a bunch of
All the cities were required to respond, or.
Right.
Yes.
Right, but I remember
And
reading something where
a good
one or
port.
more, or multiple cities requested that,
Palo Alto and.
that the cities association have input.
A bunch-
They
yeah.
have too.
A bunch of the cities did.
We didn't, yeah.
The West Valley cities did. With Saratoga.
Okay.
Okay, and then Palo Alto did. Mountain View did. All of the letters were a little different, but so there was no consensus and no formal ask. And our transportation committee has not,
Taking this up yet, right?
uh-uh.
Because last meeting, did we say the transportation? Or did we not even talk about
We
this?
didn't talk about it really, and I'll talk to Rod about trying to get the committee back together. Rod's also had a lot of personal stuff going on, so we haven't been able to schedule any of the committee meetings.
So there's the city's responses, which
Yeah.
have all been submitted, all right?
Mhm.
And you're right, some of them have overlap and some were way off over here, but that is what that is.
Yeah.
But then there was a request or some sort of decision or recommendation, I'm not sure what it was, in which the cities association would be the fiduciary, organization associated with this thing. And that's the piece that I think that we shouldn't have anything to do with that. It's not really a play for us. And while we can provide further input in terms of their recommendation, having them report to us, that's all great. But for us to take on a role that's in addition to it, I just don't feel that is something
Where did
that
that
we should be
request
doing.
come from?
It was from a bunch of,
Cities.
some of the cities, the cities didn't want, I think my understanding of what they were asking was they wanted an independent somebody that was independent. They didn't want the VTA to do the study. And so they said, why doesn't VTA pay for it, give the money to the cities and let them hire a consultant that would, that's what I think some of them were pretty specific about
Because
it.
one of the things, I'm gonna use Los Gatos as an example, was, what is your recommendation? And so what we said was, it's not, we weren't gonna provide one city's recommendation. It should be something that a group such as Cities Association puts together.
Exactly. And it puts me in an even worse position, being president of the Cities Association, also mayor within my city, to be involved in that aspect as well. So it's a strange circumstance, and I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's a good play for us as cities to have that responsibility.
Well, I can't speak for VTA or the whole VTA board, but I can just tell you personally, I don't think that dog is going to hunt anyway. I don't think VTA would be supportive of.
Oh, good. Well, see,
Trying to check
that's
to the
good.
Cities Association.
Yeah.
But, okay, so let's take these two things apart. Would they be supportive of having a third part, like,
Yeah, like ours says, we want an independent organization
Yeah.
such as the Cities Association to commission the recommended study with funding provided by VTA. So how do you
So they're
respond
not
to
funding
that?
us, they're just basically funding the consultants.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
would have been funding anyway.
so as a VTA ad hoc member, what's the scenario that you think VTA would agree to? If there's concern that VTA shouldn't fund their own study?
Well, for one thing, we're already moving along in terms of
They're not,
funding the study.
yeah.
Oh,
It's already
yeah.
ongoing.
Okay,
And so why don't we even hold off on that discussion? Let you guys receive the presentation
Yeah.
and then
okay.
have a follow-up discussion, because I'm anticipating that a good part of the presentation is the independent consultants.
Well, that's fantastic.
Recommendations.
Good.
Right.
That would be great. Okay.
And
All right. Good.
So the real conversation would be
Yeah.
the perception of how independent is that consultant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Alright.
All right. Good. Let's continue through these presentations just to make sure that they're ones that we think are appropriate for this meeting, and then we'll decide how much time we're going to allocate to
Okay.
each of them. Okay. The Healthy Cities Dashboard.
So I would suggest that one go to November.
Okay. Okay.
And this is the same group that they come in,
Every year.
but they also are adding new things to the dashboard, which I think you would find really interesting. They want to add
It is.
your
Yeah.
gun safety
Yeah.
as well as
Mental health?
mental health, affordable housing, and they've been kind of, anyway, so they have some questions. I'm not sure if they're gonna end up with the affordable housing piece on the dashboard,
Mhm.
but it's an interesting idea.
Okay.
So
November it
November,
is. All right.
okay.
Good. So we'll push that off to November. How about the county fire?
So the county fire, we were supposed to have a fire
Oh, yeah.
committee, and we have two people on the committee, but in the meantime, Santa Clara County Fire, was told that this was supposed to be one of our goals, to work on fire suppression, and I said, well, I don't really know what that goal means yet, we haven't met,
Mhm.
but they do believe that we need some city and county coordination on fire suppression, on the whole issue, that there are some ordinances that need to be aligned by our cities,
Mhm.
and so one of their presentations is attached, and so I thought maybe this was an easy way for us to
Check off.
Check
check
off.
off this
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And also, it's very relevant as we head into fire season.
But can I understand this a little bit? And James, maybe I can get some of your help on this.
Let's see the attachment.
Oh, here.
Is it correct that cities are working with county fire on much of this type of stuff already?
Well, we have a unique perspective being in the fire district. So we have a very, very close relationship with county
Okay.
fire. They are our agency.
Right.
Other cities would not have that same connection. And county fire was recently allocated a fair sum of money by the Board of Supervisors to do county-wide efforts. So that's why I
Okay.
wanted to see if part of
Okay.
Chief Bowden's presentation
Right.
was part of some of the county-wide efforts that the Board of Supervisors was
got it.
looking to.
Okay.
They also have the fire chiefs that meet monthly in addition, so. And
So do you think that we're trying to get snowed here a little, or?
I just don't, no, I don't know,
No,
no,
yeah, I don't think so.
I was just trying to address Manny's
Yeah.
question as far as the connection with county fire,
Mm.
because ours is unique.
Right.
For all of you have your own
Yeah,
agencies.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We're with you.
Yes, you're with
Yeah.
us.
So maybe it makes sense then to have them come and give us a presentation.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, it was one of our
Yeah.
our items
Yeah,
of priority, and
yes.
so we could check off the box.
So was this really a burning issue for us?
Chappy.
Oh, Chappy.
I just couldn't resist.
Looks like I've got San Jose Fire's logo on every slide.
Isn't that funny? Well,
So clearly
maybe
there's
I
been-
was wrong. I was pretty sure it was Santa Clara.
They'll provide the
Last
vote.
Well, no, there is Santa Clara Fire,
Yeah.
but
But they're working together.
Forestry Service. District
And this
2,
is-
District 3.
it's a long presentation, and it's going to be a hot topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would make sure that you have enough time. There's a lot of good information in here. None of it is
New.
going into a policy space. It's just stuff we all need to be aware of.
So they did, I mean, he specifically, so it's been a month or so since I spoke with them. But they were talking about some ordinances that need to be aligned through some of our cities.
Are you talking to Chief Justice?
No.
No? Bill
Murphy?
Murphy?
Bill
Bill
Murphy.
Murphy, okay, so he's the PIO. We are in the process of all aligning our codes, and all of our cities next month will be bringing all of those common code amendments forward.
So,
So we have whatever coordination the fire chiefs are trying to do within the county to align all of our respective fire code amendments. Should already have happened.
have happened.
Because all of us,
So do you want
you
me to
all are having
find out
public
if it's
hearings
still
on
It
that.
would have
relevant?
by the end of the year.
Your public hearings will be very, very shortly. Yeah.
So you want me to find out if it's still relevant and they still want to come? I mean, because
I don't see anything
when
wrong
I spoke with
What's
them,
it?
they, I knew that we were working on RENA and knew that we didn't have time.
It's a good, I mean, the information there is great information. Just make sure you have enough time
Okay.
to go through it.
So
Okay.
I kind of remember that it became a goal because I thought it was like,
Javed.
yeah, Javed wanted and it had to do specifically with
Fire
evacuation.
Yeah,
Evacuation.
so this presentation seems very appropriate.
Yeah.
So we could, why don't we just let them run it?
Yeah, no, I agree, but I'm not sure we want to do it this evening, just because I
Yeah.
think the transportation measure and the VTA, governance thing is going to be long discussions.
So November.
So yeah, let's
Okay.
put it back to
And then like
Yeah.
October.
And so are we yes to Jason coming, SVLG?
I say yay. Are we okay with Jason coming in and talking about the
October is
transportation
wildland
measure?
fire
Right.
month,
Okay.
so
All right.
it would be appropriate to do it in October.
Oh,
What was that?
October is wildland fire month.
Uh,
Believe it or not, I know this stuff. I'm wearing my fire shirt, but yeah, so it would be appropriate to do it in October, but it is what it is. So.
Either that, or we can push Jason to November.
Yeah, there's no rush for that.
This is their transportation measure, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Faster.
It's early.
No doubt
Early.
this will be the last request we get.
Slow it down, yeah.
So how about a vote then that we, for this coming meeting, we do the VTA overview and we do the county fire.
So moved.
Is that okay? All right. All in favor, aye. All right, good. So those will be the two that we're going to do. We're going to push the others to November.
okay.
All right, good. City Select Committee appointees to present.
That's just there in case we
Yeah.
feel like we need more time, and I think we're okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Did we
Eliminate
come
that.
to a conclusion on, there were several things that were expiring from county level? Recycling Waste Commission, or is it just website not updated? Can you double check that when you get a chance?
I don't have that file with me, but yep, well,
Okay, I'm
I
just going
do-
by the website.
Okay,
Okay.
so that
All right.
means we would need a selection committee in November.
That's what I'm.
Yep,
That's why I'm just trying to see if there's things that expired that we need to catch up on. But we'll talk about that.
Okay.
offline. Okay.
all right, good. So let's go ahead and put times to these, Andy, not now, but put times to these so that we have, maybe like an 8:30 end
Okay.
time. Try for that. If we find that the presentations are going to go longer than that will allow, then don't bother with that. But if we can shoot for an 8:30 end time,
okay,
that way when we run over, I've got some leeway and
Okay.
still get everyone out there. Otherwise, Chappie's all over me saying, you kept me here so late. All right.
gotcha.
Okay. Anything else, you guys?
No.
Are we good?
Good.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Mariko, for bringing the cake.
Thank you for having a
Yeah,
birthday.
thanks for having a
Yeah.
birthday
Happy
party.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You're welcome.
Happy birthday. And Rania, it's always great to see you.
Thank
Yeah. Come again soon.